Do you struggle with boundaries like I do? I have issues with boundaries. You see me that you're seeing here. Hey, I have issues with relationship boundaries. I have issues with sometimes physical boundaries. I have issues with emotional boundaries at times. But anyway, the point is it normal for us to struggle with setting the right boundaries? The answer is yes, because you're not perfect, right? But it's also very important for you to know that the moment you set the right boundaries, then, my friend, you will have peace. Let's talk about this. And today we have a guest, my darling guest. You know, I say already that I have a YouTube sweetheart, right? And this one is my darling sweetheart. I don't know what I'm saying, but anyway, Deborah.
Hi everyone.
Okay, so today we are talking about boundaries, right? And today we want to talk about six different types of boundaries, right? So we have time boundaries, we have emotional boundaries, we have physical boundaries, we have mental boundaries, we have sexual boundaries, we have relationship boundaries, and of course, which one is the seventh one now?
We have communication boundaries.
Communication boundaries. Good. So we would take it. I would take one. Deborah would take the other. We will talk about what these boundaries are and how we could, try to work on setting them. So Deborah, I think over to you. You want to start with physical boundaries.
Okay, so for me, I think physical boundaries are like one of the most abused boundaries in the world.
Tell me about it.
Because yes, like, let me start from maybe Lagos, Nigeria. You enter the market and somebody's dragging you, my wife, come and buy. And I'm like,
that thing is
get
annoying.
out, So that's like one thing we struggle with in Lagos, Nigeria, in coach, And then aside the epic ones that happen in the market, even when you become friends with people just show up at your house. You're not calling, you're just texting me, I'm in the neighborhood. Sorry, where? So these are boundaries that we need to set about our physical space, how much you want to be able to allow people. And then these things don't mean you're wicked. It just means you treasure your privacy enough to want to preserve it. So some ways I can advise, you start out with setting physical boundaries is by being clear. Just say, oh, this is what I want. She can visit me, but then this is how it should be done, You don't just pull up and say you want to sleep over. How? Where does it work, And then you can be clear enough to communicate with people. Oh, I don't like you when you touch me that way. I don't like you when you touch my hair, For a naturalista, somebody can just see you on the road from nowhere and dig their hands into your hair, and that's annoying. So you can be as clear as telling people, oh, I don't like you when you do it that way to me because it's my body. Yeah, so I think.
And then in addition again to the physical boundaries, people don't also know that setting the right boundaries with the things that go into your mouth by
eating right,
yes, food or drinks is also a physical kind of boundary.
Yeah.
Because you're teaching your body to be disciplined. And one good thing about boundaries is it makes you a happier person. It gives you more peace.
Really.
And again, it makes you a better person to the people you encounter because they only come close when you are in the right space to accommodate and treat them right.
Beautiful.
As against just allowing them come in when you're not mentally ready.
You're
because
cranky,
of course, we'll have our cranky moments, right? You did justice to that.
Thank you.
The next one on our list is, which one do I take now? Okay, let's take emotional boundaries. Yeah. You see, especially people like me that want to think that we are therapists or something. There are some topics that are bigger than you and you want to still handle them because you love to converse. But those topics could trigger you. Those topics are so heavy and beyond your level of capability or capacity. But because you love to lend a helping ear or ears to whoever that comes to you, you listen, but guess what? You damage yourself more. You relapse because it triggers something in you. Let's say you are dealing with or you've dealt with an abusive partner that traumatized you so much and you're still dealing with that particular experience. And there you are, because you don't have the right emotional boundaries, allowing someone going through that
to heap it on you.
Yes, to heap it on you. And because you don't have the right boundaries to say, I wish I could help you, but I don't even have the tools to help you right now. But I pray you find the help you need. And that way, the person would continue. Because if the person continues, both of you would be two left legs walking.
Because you won't help the person, and then you just get worse in the process, really.
So the best way to set the right amount of emotional boundaries is to tell the person that you're sorry, you can't handle this. I know most times in this country, we kind of frown at such conversation.
Why are you chasing me away?
Yes.
You cannot even help.
Absolutely. They would understand with time because it's you first. It's you first. I did a video before about being selfish. See, there's nothing wrong with being selfish. Protect your space. You can only pour from a full cup. Because if your cup is empty,
if it's damaged,
you're not helping both yourself and the person coming close to you. So that is it about emotional boundary. And the third one is time boundary. Do you want to take that?
Yeah, so with time boundaries, I feel even before I delve deep into time boundaries, one thing we need to understand about boundaries in general is that you have to be clear about it, state it, and then have the right enforcement in place. So if somebody messes up with that boundary, you know just how to sort it out. Now with time boundaries, it can revolve around, having boundaries around your time, how much time you want to give to someone. So for me, that I like to have my day structured, I'm a planner person, I use time blocking, and then we're supposed to have a meeting for 3 hours, and you're going on to 6 hours, I hear issues where maybe people fix dates, and then you're coming 2 hours later. Or the one that breaks my heart the most is when you cancel on me that morning. Like, I've already planned, prepped my whole day, and then you just text me that something came up. Okay, just know that you will not be able to plan that meeting again because you've crossed my boundary.
But what if there was a sincere reason?
Yeah, so it's different if there's a sincere reason and then you're texting me ahead of time. So because I don't really like going out, I like to mentally prep my brain, and I tell my brain, hey darling, this is where we will be from this time to this time. And then it's almost damaging when you now scatter that, what they call it, because I won't be able to find nothing to fit into that time, so I feel it goes a long way to understanding that people actually value their time well.
Absolutely.
There are people that you cancel on, or you can just scatter their timing and they won't feel bad, nothing, they'll just we move. But then there are people that it will really affect. So you need to, and one thing I like to do is communicate. Please, are you sure you really want us to meet this time? Okay, you're sure nothing will come up? And then if something comes up, it can be as cool as texting ahead of time. I remember having a meeting with someone and we were supposed to meet maybe around 1. I was calling this person for more than 30 minutes, and then I'm the kind of person that I don't like to call more than 2 times, but I was calling this person like the person was holding my kidney. And then by mistake I called this person, and then the person picked, and then the next person saying, I'm trying to fix something for my mom. So when I heard that thing, I was worried, like, oh my god, hope nothing is wrong with mom. So I kept calling. That person did not show up at the place. I was worried. I said, maybe something happened. For me to now later call with one flimsy excuse of trying to call a plumber to help his mom. I'm not saying but then I'm like, you should have at least texted.
So I think I understand what you're saying.
So
what you're
saying
basically
really clear,
is sometimes, I always say this, we're energies. Sometimes even if the communication comes very late, somehow you would know that this is genuine, and that you can excuse, as against the ones that are flimsy, right? Okay,
fine.
We move
really
to the fourth one. So which one do we handle now? Relationship boundaries.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
I struggle. Relationship boundaries, I don't even know how to set that right. Apparently because I have a weakness, which is I'm a people pleaser. I'm working on that though. I'm a lot better, I must tell you. I'm a people pleaser. I always want to, give you what I think you want to get from me. What I think would make you happy, irrespective of how I feel or how I would feel. So this is me not knowing that although we are close, I'm supposed to set the right boundaries, even with the things you tell me, even with the relationship I have with myself, even the things I tell myself, the way I talk to myself, the way you talk to me, the way I receive what you say to me.
Yeah, that receiving part though.
So most times I feel, when it comes to relationship, you have to give, it's like I want to also give you my kidney. Like I can't just know that, okay, yes, you're my friend, we are close, but guess what? You should keep some things to yourself. It doesn't make you secretive, and it doesn't make you not open or not trusting the person. But it means that you're setting the right boundaries, giving that person only what they can handle, because it's also selfish of me to feel that I would need to pour all my problems
into another person. That's really terrible. And then I feel with relationship too, you know, you need to know the place people have in your life. You know, you meet somebody today and then maybe you guys start talking in 2 weeks. They already know everything about you, even your grandmother in the village. Chill, you know. So you should know those who are acquaintances, those who are friends, those who are paddies, those who are your ride and die, you know, and then you will now know how to disperse the level of information among
you
them.
must compartmentalize that in every relationship. Yeah. Okay. So which one? The fifth one. Let's talk about mental boundaries. You wanted to talk about that.
Yeah. So with mental boundaries, I feel one thing we need to understand is that we're not superheroes. We take on too much. We overhype ourselves. We think we're X-Men, I'll be X-Man, I'll be whatever, Superman. You can take up everything, you know. But then with mental boundaries, it just revolves around you reminding yourself that there's a limit to what you can do. Yes, I understand that, you know, God gives us like a bigger edge, but then you're still human, you know. So it revolves around the kind of thoughts you're allowed to, you know, wonder. Like something my friend likes to say a lot, you know, thoughts are like birds. They can, like, you know, fly around and then perch, but then if they make a mistake to build a nest around your head, then it is finished. So with thoughts, you know, your mindset, the things you're allowed to come into you, because we're currently in a world where everything is everywhere. You know, you're seeing this information here, you're seeing this information there. I was telling a friend that I'm tired of Twitter. There's always one thing trending or the other. It's either you're justicing for this person or you're justicing for another. But then with mental boundaries, it just means you coming to a place where you say there's so much I can take and then there's so little I can take. So I'm going to choose what I'm going to take, you know. Is with selective absorption. You're not just taking everything, chewing on everything. You're saying, oh, I'm going to give myself a mental fast, you know. So you can use beautiful words like affirmations that you talked about, you know, reminding yourself that this is who I am, you know. I remember when the whole Sapa song started and then it became like an anthem, and I'm like, nobody should bring that thing near me, because
which one?
That's
Tell me.
Sapa now. That's when Sapa became a thing now. Sapa is like poverty, like, you know, having money.
Okay.
Yeah. So it became like a thing, like small thing. Everyone's like, Sapa have hold me. I will not say that on the normal day, you know. But I'm like, I'm not going to do that. And then you see memes, you know, around all of these things. And then if you're not careful, these things are, yes, now these things are slowly coming to you. Me that on a normal, I can go and buy something, like I really don't care about the change, or I really don't care about pricing. I'll now start checking double price because everybody's talking about Sapa, you know. So it just revolves around you telling yourself who you are, so that your mentality is built up in a healthy way.
And another way again to preserve your mental health is to log off. Sometimes we don't do that. We are always on social media.
You don't want to miss out on training.
You don't want to, but most times you just need to log off. If it's a week, if it's 2 weeks, if it's a month, just purge. Just purge. Be in your zen moment and
detox,
purge.
please.
Absolutely.
It says we see on that Obasanjo app. Have you watched they call it?
Obasanjo app.
It's just too much for our mental health.
Okay, so I think this is our fifth one or sixth one. I can't remember. But anyway, the next is sexual boundaries. Sexual boundaries. You know, the truth about these sexual boundaries is that we women, most of us, all the time, we don't even know that we have the right to set a certain level of sexual boundaries, even with our husbands. I know I've heard some men say, my wife, she doesn't even like when I touch her. Anytime we finish, you know, making love or whatever, she frowns. She acts as if we're fighting. Oga, because the way you went about it actually makes her feel used. She feels you've molested her. Although, of course, you didn't rape her, one would say. But, you know, you don't leave her feeling good. You leave her feeling a certain level of, you know, will I say rejection, like abuse.
She just had to do it.
She just had to do it, yeah? So for example, maybe you are kinky, maybe you like spanking, and she doesn't see it like that. Maybe she's just a sexual person. So when you do that, she feels you are abusing her. You're actually crossing her sexual boundaries. I did a video about erotic blueprint. I'm going to link it here so you watch and understand what I mean by kinky, sexual, or sensual. But the point is, you don't know that your wife actually feels that you molest her. Maybe she's tried to say that to you and you're like, you don't know anything. You're not listening. So the truth is, we have to tell our partners, when,
Communicate.
of course, I don't like you kissing me like this because it makes me feel this way. I don't like you touching me. Yes, he's your husband. Yes, you're in love. But you know what? It gives you a negative feeling, and it's okay for you to voice that out and say, I'm not comfortable when you do this because it makes me feel this way. And he should also understand where you're coming from, as against gaslighting and saying, you two they do.
Yeah.
No. And that is the problem we have here. You two they do is the problem. So people don't feel comfortable.
Just want to stay mute.
Yes,
Okay,
because they will
let's
say
stay
I have
like
a
this,
problem.
yeah.
They will say I'm extra. They will say I'm difficult. But no, you don't feel comfortable, and you shouldn't max that. You should be able to air that out.
And then I feel if we come to a point where we understand that there are two people in the game, in quotes, you know, it's not just a man's thing or a woman's thing. It has to be like, it has
Teamwork.
to be, yeah, it has to be teamwork. So if one part of the party is not, you know, having it in the way you're presenting it, then there has to be like a discussion. You guys can reach an agreement. Okay, how about we do it this way? That way you're respecting each other's boundaries, and then nobody's being offended.
Or maybe she's actually, what's the English word now? Maybe she's a prude. So maybe when you have that conversation with her, she would realize, okay, spanking is actually sexy, and she might be open. But have the conversation. Don't assume and don't force your opinion on someone, right?
That's true, yeah.
And the last one, the seventh one, is communication boundary.
Ta-da!
Tell me about it.
Okay, now with communication boundaries, you know, communication boundaries literally about you setting a limit to how much you say, how much people say to you, how you say it, how you receive what is being said to you. You know, there's this rubbish I don't like where people say things like, oh, if she's your best friend, you can say it how it is. Don't try it near me. I'll break your head. Really, you know, so you don't have to be rude to pass across a message. And then I think another issue we struggle with in Nigeria, most especially with communication boundaries, is when strangers correct people. I don't know, but then I believe that you should not correct someone as a stranger. So let's say you see someone on Instagram, you know, the next thing you're just spamming their comment section with a correction. If you want to correct the person, you don't even know the person personality to correct. You don't even know if you have access to the person to correct them or to even pass across an information. There's something as simple as going to the DM. If you have to queue in their requests, that's fine. But then, you know, you understanding how much access you have to say. You know, you don't just say things to people like, you have your mouth. Oh, you have your mouth, but then you don't have your mouth in people's lives.
I think I share that opinion. Let me quickly tell us a story before we round up. So I went for an outreach, Easter, and in this remote area where a friend of mine was actually trying to help, you know, people living in that area. So she kind of promoted the whole thing and asked people to bring whatever it is that they have so we could share. So we went there, prayed for them, gave them food, and shared all these things. It was beautiful. So we had a DJ, and we have Christian musicians come to sing and perform. So while we were doing that, I was dancing with these women, about maybe 50, 80 of them. I was dancing in their midst. In short, I was even standing, when the dance started, I was like a little bit
far from them.
Just a little bit. So I had to dance into the pool of where these women were.
Okay.
And then someone that I don't know, that doesn't even follow me, I apparently saw that on the feed and then wrote, born again people, after you people be doing born again, see how you segregated yourself from these women after you say you're doing church.
You?
So that is communication boundaries.
Well, I feel that there needs to be like a tutorial. People should come for a tutorial by this time and learn how to talk to people, because
Absolutely.
it really gets into me when people cross those type of boundaries.
I know, me as well. But anyway, Deborah, it's always a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you.
I love your energy and I love our conversations. Guys,
Thank
you've heard
you.
that. We've discussed 7 boundaries. Which one do you struggle with? Like I said, I struggle with relationship boundaries. I struggle sometimes with physical boundaries. Which one do you struggle with, Deborah?
I think one of the things I struggle with is communication boundaries, because I really don't know how to talk to people. But then when I now find that one person that I can talk to, there's every tendency that you're going to know if water splashed me on the road, you know. And then sometimes it can be overbearing on the other person. Yeah,
like I mentioned.
I'm learning to understand that, okay, there are some things you can talk to yourself about, and then there are some things you can talk to people about.
And guess what? We all are unlearning, learning and relearning. So we'll be fine.
At the end of the day.
Guys, comment and tell us the boundaries you struggle with. And while at it, remember to subscribe, like, and share.
Yes, please.
And Ujumpa always says, Hang in there, for the very best is next. Love you, ciao, bye.
Bye.